You wanting to boost your self confidence in yourself? Well, today I'm going to talk about how you can really own that. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, if you're really looking to keep up to date with all these podcast episodes so you can really boost your self esteem and confidence, have the right mindset, make sure you're not missing an episode, and get a weekly confidence insight, all you got to do is click in the link below to sign up absolutely free to our weekly newsletter, and I will be giving you weekly confidence tips. So, what am I talking about today? I'm going to talk about, as I mentioned, self confidence and really owning that in yourself. Now, I just came back from a gym class and I completely changed the topic because I felt really, really good. And I had some realizations. And when I changed my state, like go to the gym or start eating better, I realized I really feel like the ideas flow to me. I feel more confident in myself. And also, I work in like sales, I've done some project management. And I realized when I take actions in the right way, I don't always get results, but when I do, I feel better. And that comes from taking the action. Now, I've also realized, admittedly, I've been caught up in this even in the last 2 years, and I have to call myself out for this when times have been challenging or a growth opportunity, if you see it that way. And if you go with what I'm talking about today, you'll see challenges as more of a growth opportunity. I've found myself being in almost now and then this victim mentality of like, oh, life's so hard, all these things happen to me. Oh, it's so tough for me. Oh, all these kind of things. And I see it so many times in society. And again, I'm holding my hand up saying I'm guilty as well. Now I snap back out of this a lot quicker than I used to. So, for example, there's been so many times I remember trying to get a job like, oh, no one wants to give me a job. Oh, it's so hard for me. Oh, why is life so unfair? And actually, what happened in the end was I got a better job when I kept not getting the interviews in a better company, in a better city. So it all worked out quite well. And it gave me the opportunity to build my speaking skills, my interview skills. And my previous episode was on how to be confident in interviews, if you want to check that out as well. I used to have this story in primary school and secondary school. Oh, the girls don't like me. Oh, because I was a little bit, well, I perceived myself as chubby, but that probably wasn't it. But I didn't have any confidence in myself either. The important thing. And I'd be like, oh, the girls don't like me, all these kind of things. When I changed that a little bit, I had the opportunity to date some wonderful women, right? Another one, money. Money is a very victim mentality for a lot of people. Yet we also see those people going from rags to riches, as you could say. Maybe that's not the best phrase, but anyway, people who were like came from real financially challenging backgrounds to now like millionaires or billionaires, right? Yeah, it's so many times people are like, oh, money's just so tough. Oh, it's all against me. Yeah, when I started to understand the rules of money, both the physical and metaphysical, I started to have more of it. Now it's a work in progress, of course, because I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire right now. Yet I found I've been able to handle it and get more of it from some of the rules I've been obeying rather than be like, oh, it's just so hard. Oh, no, more bills coming in. Oh, all these unexpected things. When actually I started taking responsibility that I was in a bad, my state wasn't in a good place. So therefore, I was in more of a scarcity place than abundance because abundance or gratitude will attract more of it. Now, obviously, that can be quite hard depending where you're in life sometimes. And also, actually looking after the money I had, I started to get more of it as well, a lot better. But that's all those things I've just talked about started from me taking responsibility. Now, it's so easy, and I want to be really open on what I'm saying here. It's very easy for us to blame circumstances or other people. Yet that doesn't build good self confidence because when you can start taking responsibility for your own actions in your own life, you can't control the external factors, of course not. But when you start taking responsibility for the way you feel, the way you move forward, the actions you take, that builds a lot of confidence. Now, I want to be really clear, right? Obviously, if you've lost someone, you've lost a job, you've lost a relationship, been through all of those things, right? I'm a human being. Um, you're going to have to feel those things, right? I'm not saying, right, oh, I just ended that relationship or I just lost someone. Right, I'm going to snap out of it and then take action. No, that's just going to create a load of stored grief and suppressing emotions is not going to end well. So there's a time and place I definitely in every single day for me to kind of process any hard emotions and get, unless it's, there's some days when I don't need to and it's just a flow day. It's great. Right now I'm feeling pretty good. Right. There are days when I have to process a lot more. Right. What I'm talking about though is being stuck in a story of like lives happening to you. Now, some people get very defensive when you tell them to take ownership over things because they may be like, oh, well, my ex left me. Our life's so hard. I'm never going to find a relationship. Or I lost my job. Nobody employs me. Our life, money's so hard for me. Oh, it's just easy for some people. When you stick in those stories, like ask yourself honestly, is it serving you? Because if you're anything like me, it didn't serve me. Right. And when you can start taking ownership, it's up to you if you want to take ownership. That's when you move forward. Yes, you're going to get setbacks and knockbacks, but that's a test of growth. So I really wanted to go through some steps that by taking ownership of my life and my own self-confidence, that's what has really grown like me as a person. So the first thing I'm going to say, there's three things here, and then I've got an extra one that I want to share at the end. So the first thing is decide to take ownership. You have to decide to take ownership of your life, right? Now, owning it may involve you need to grieve a little bit, and grieve doesn't just mean you lost someone died. Obviously that would be grieving. It could be the loss of a situation, relationship, or something like that, right? But if you're maybe something happened to you like a while ago and you still get caught in the story and you're like, oh, they did this, that's why I'm angry, that's why I'm fed up. Well, make a decision to take ownership. Make a decision that you're going to take the best next actions for you, right? I made a decision today, like when I wasn't feeling as good, to go to the gym and work out. I made a decision to take my calls yesterday when I wasn't feeling great, right? You got to make a decision. And some people are going to decide they're going to stay in their victimhood. They're going to stay in their story of like, oh, well, this happened to me. Now, obviously, if something's really traumatic's happened, you obviously process that. That's not what I'm saying. Sometimes people get very sensitive about these things, right? If something really traumatic's happened to you, then, and you got to be sensitive to people who've gone through like, different cases of trauma, and trauma can be different things to different, mean different things to different people. Process that. What I'm saying is just staying in the kind of like the life is unfair mentality. That's the decision. And some people are so hooked to it because it's the easy way out. Yeah. Do you want to take the easy way out and have a hard life, or do you want to put a little bit of work in and have an easier life? And I'm not saying it's going to ever be a point where it's like, easy flow, but it can certainly make processing emotions and going through life in a lot more flow when you take responsibility. The second thing, think about things you do own, like you do take responsibility for, and use them. And what I mean by this is, for me, right, one of the areas I've always been challenged with is kind of that intimate, like dating relationship area. And it used to be money a lot as well, which I worked through. But one area that I'm pretty good at, or very strong at, and I take a lot of responsibility for, is in my health, right? It's not perfect all the time. Of course it's not, right? I have my ups and downs, but I generally bounce back to a good level of exercise, pretty good nutrition. Again, it's not spot on. I have my treats and things like that. I don't starve myself, because I think people who like go on too strict diets will just get worse when they give it up, right? It's like the classic new year, new me rubbish, right? So I decided to start using my health and then start taking responsibility in those other areas. It's like, okay, I'm going to own my story. I'm not going to keep in this story of like, oh, nobody wants me. Oh, it's hard. And when you can model an area of your life where you do take responsibility, maybe it's in your job, maybe it's with your family, there's usually an area in your life where you're taking responsibility and you're owning it, but you might not be in another. So therefore, aspects of your life. So therefore, take the responsibility and model what you do in the area you really do take responsibility, and own your actions in that, and then apply it to another area of your life. And then the third one, do something in your control every single day. If there's an area you're really struggling, what can you do in your own control? Maybe it's just journaling, maybe it's just meditating, maybe it's just talking to someone. It could be something really simple. So make sure you take control every single day. Okay, now I've got a bonus point for you. Just before I get onto that, I want to mention the direction of my free newsletter that you can get access to. So that's going to give you a weekly confidence insight every week, and you can keep up to date with all the podcast episodes. All you got to do is click in the link in the show notes below to sign up for that for absolutely free. Okay, and then my bonus point. This is a critical one, and I've said it a lot. I'm going to say it again because it's repeated information, and sometimes it takes multiple times for us to actually take in a certain point. And that's hang out with better quality people and information. And what I mean by that is we adapt to what we're taking in and who we're hanging out with. So if you're hanging out with people like, oh, I'm just like paying the bills, life's tough, all these things. And I've noticed the individuals who started bringing these kind of things up, and I always remove myself from them or remove them from my life in an appropriate way, of course. Because what happens is you're going to adapt it. Now, if you're hanging out with people really own their life and they take responsibility, you're going to adapt to that as well. So start hanging out with people, and it can just be online in this day and age. There's lots of good Facebook groups. There's lots of good communities, right? Ideally, you find people in person as well. That's what I love about working with my coach. He's really good at like processing emotions and making and controlling what he can in his life without realizing that there's going to be ups and downs. We can always come back to a safe emotion, however we're feeling. And I start taking that response that's carried on to me. That impact is carried on to me. Now, if I was listening or being coached by someone who's negative and miserable, which I'd never pick, obviously, as a coach, then that'd also impact onto me. So make sure you hang out with good quality people and listen to good quality information, because that's information is always going in. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today to really start taking responsibility to build more self-confidence in yourself. So I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.